Hello, everyone. Trust you are well again, and I've been praying for you and hope that all is well in your household. Here's just another weekly encouragement update, a few announcements for you, a little devotional thought that I trust will be a blessing to you. Work continues here at the church. I don't know if you can hear that. I have some earphones in because they are currently breaking up the granite on our former driveway. So they dug that out this week and they're now going down deep, and they got the jackhammer out again, and I've been doing that for a couple of days, so really going at it. I think they've hit some really hard rock because they've been in one place for a while, but that's going on. So if you come by to visit the church, you won't be able to pull in the driveway because that's all been tore up. And that is one thing that really has been a blessing, where the site guys now can do whatever they want around the property, and they don't have to work around our schedule for being here at services. And so I'm sure it's making their life a little bit easier that way, and they're jumping right on it and being able to move some things around. So that is one thing that is good. I do need to announce to you today as a church that given the recent order that the governor gave of the stay-at-home order until May 4th, we will not be having any church activities, services or activities until after May 4th. So there was a bit of confusion about that in the order. I read the orders, and they seem to contradict in some ways. And so we didn't really want to make a decision until we got some clear information on that. But this is the clear order for religious organizations, and therefore we will have to continue this way for another month or so. I know that's disappointing. It's certainly disappointing for me. I think of Easter and the joyous time that is, especially together, celebrating the Lord's resurrection, and we will be doing that in a virtual way online. So just brace yourself for another month plus of this, and who knows how long, but we do know it's in the Lord's hands and under the Lord's control. So I wanted to announce that to you today. We are getting together to discern, okay, what else do we need to be doing during this time to maintain connection with one another and do all we can in that regard. So we will be posting things and giving you some information with regard to that. I do have a need. Maybe you're wondering what you can do. Is there any way that you can help, anything that you can do? Well, I do have a need, and if you are able to meet this need, you can reach out to me personally. You can text me or email me. My email is pastormatt@hbcnh.org. We had a very heavy rain on Sunday, as you recall, and Sunday evening. And all that heavy rain, it seems like most of it came right into the church fellowship room, the basement downstairs. And when I got in here Monday morning, water had run from the unfinished part into the kitchen and out into the carpet. And so we vacuumed all that up and got it dried out, and it's still drying it out as best as possible, but it leaves a smell on the carpet. And so if anyone would be willing to come by the church and pick up a carpet cleaner and would be able to clean the basement carpet downstairs, that would be a great blessing. The church would cover any cost for that, for renting the equipment. All we're asking is someone to volunteer time. And it's actually a good time to do it. No one's down there. We're not using the space, so it's opened up. But to clean that carpet, and the kitchen probably needs cleaned up as well. I did my best to get all the water out and sweep it up as best as possible, but I'm sure it probably needs some cleaning on the floor and good mopping and all of that. So if anyone is looking for something to do at this time, a good excuse to get out of the house, that would be a blessing. So you can contact me, reach out to me about that. And once I do hear of someone, then we will let people know that need has been met. So give that consideration and some thought. Well, those are really the announcements that I have for you. And let me just share a quick devotional thought with you that you can take with you at this time. It was Just this morning I was reading in 1 Samuel 15 to 17, and I read once again the familiar story of David and Goliath. And it's just an amazing story. It becomes so familiar to us because we've heard it from the time that we're children, and we think it's a children's story, and we sing the song of Only a Little Sling. But when you read these stories, you really have to put yourself in the shoes of those that are experiencing these things. And just imagine the threat of this massive man, Goliath. His sheer size is intimidating. His strength, you read of his armor. And just a few chapters before, when you read in 1 Samuel, you read that the Hebrew people, they did not have armor or swords. They had to go into Philistine territory in order to get plow implements and things of iron. And so their weapons, a few of them had swords and shields and that kind of thing, let alone body armor. And now here you have a man, a giant of a man in physical stature and size, a man well equipped and prepared. He's got armament everywhere. And he is taunting and calling out the Israelites and really mocking God as he does. This is an amazing threat. And it's demonstrated in the fact that the men of warfare in that day, Saul in particular, who we know was head and shoulders taller than many in Israel. That's why people were drawn to him as king. And he is afraid. He's not going down to face this threat. He nor any of his generals. They're all scared. And on the scene comes a young man, David, who was probably certainly not a man of even Saul's stature. We know that because he tried on Saul's armor and it was unwieldy for him. It may be that he just wasn't used to it, but it likely was just that it was too big for him. And he's kind of a scrawny kid at this point, and that's not going to suit him. And so David comes and he asks questions. What's going on? What's happening here? And in the midst of this fear, in the midst of intimidation, David says, I will go and face this giant. And he goes down into the valley, and here's what he says when he faces Goliath. In 1 Samuel 17, verse 45, then David said to the Philistine, you come to me with sword and with a spear and with a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will strike you down and cut off your head, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. Verse 47, and that all this assembly may know that the Lord saves, not with sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's. He will give you into our hand. David confronts this threat, and his entire confidence is not in his own self, but it is in the Lord, and he knows the strength of the Lord to defeat this threat and to defeat this army. And David speaks very confidently, but it's not in arrogance. It's in confidence that God has been defiled and God's name has been maligned, and David will stand up for the name of the Lord. And here's a man of great fear and great courage. We know that is at this point in David's life. He has this great courage. That was not always the case. You may recall times when David feared and he fled. But here, it's interesting to note that David's focus is not on himself or his own inability or even the great threat that's before him, but David's confidence is in the Lord. And he says, the Lord will strike you down and his name will be honored. So even among God's people, there was fear in this time of uncertainty as they faced this threat. But David didn't give in to those fears. He wasn't pressed into that way of thinking in the society. He was a man of action. He was a man of courage. And moving forward in courage, he engendered courage in other people. So let's remember that at this time. There is fear and uncertainty. There's fear even among the Lord's people. How long will this go on? What will it look like on the other side? What will be the end of these things? And let's remember that God is for us. And if God is for us, who can be against us? And so let's not fear, but let's move forward with confidence. All right. Trust that'll be an encouragement to you today, and that you'll think on those things. We'll be in contact throughout the week, and certainly with some more information for this Sunday and what lies ahead for Easter. So again, hope you all are well. Let's stay in touch. And if you have any needs, please do not hesitate to reach out. We've been trying to keep verbal contact in some way, or texting in some way with everybody. So please let us know what needs there might be and any ways that we can minister to one another as a body during this time. God bless you, and enjoy the rest of your day.